Breaking news in the South Bay. A judge orders a halt to the VTA workers' strike that is now in its third week. Good evening. I'm Claudine Wong. The news of that court injunction came down just within the last hour from a Santa Clara County courtroom. The Valley Transportation Authority had sued the union representing those striking workers, arguing that they violated a no-strike clause. The union argued that the contract had expired, so that clause was no longer relevant. Now, keep in mind, this legal fight comes 2.5 weeks into a strike by about 1,500 VTA workers. The buses and the light rail trains have not run since March 10th, leaving tens of thousands of riders to find alternate methods of transportation. Let's go to KTVU's Jesse Gary with the very latest on this breaking news. Jesse?
Claudine, good evening to you. The judge's order takes effect immediately. However, it is unclear how soon those striking workers you mentioned will have to move back to the job. VTA has previously said it could take as much as 48 hours for them to go in, check the system, and then get it back up and running. But this, as a judge has, at least for now, cleared one piece of this impasse between these two entities.
The court is satisfied that the plaintiffs have met their burden and that the preliminary injunction should issue.
That's Judge Daniel Nishigaya. Listened to oral arguments for over an hour inside Department 13 of the old courthouse here in downtown San Jose. Lawyers representing VTA had sued the striking union workers 2 weeks ago, saying while negotiations were ongoing, the rules of the previous contract were in effect. Now, that includes a no-strike clause. However, ATU Local 265 said talks that started at the end of December were at an impasse and called a strike of its 1,500-plus members that started on March the 10th. Numerous issues had been reduced to pay, VTA offering 11% while the union seeks 18%, and arbitration for grievances and disciplinary actions. The two sides seemed to move further apart last weekend, with ATU saying the authority reintroduced some items that had been removed from the table. In court arguments, ATU argued the old contract ended, pointed to VTA's own announcements on its website, and as such, the no-strike clause was not in effect. But VTA countered the act of negotiating means the strike provision, the no-strike provision, is enforceable. The judge ultimately agreed, citing the harm that's being done to the roughly 100,000 daily riders of light rail and buses in the South Bay.
Disagree with the judge. This is the second time that we've been in this position where we believe that the justice systems and the court has failed us. So, we'll see what happens. We'll determine what happens tomorrow shortly. But we believe that the judge got this wrong. At the end of the day, the workers lost today.
What the judge's ruling means is that VTA workers need to come back to work immediately. The injunction is effective immediately, and VTA will be figuring out over the next few hours exactly when service will get back on the streets. There are tens of thousands of people who have suffered because of this strike, and we are appreciative of this ruling so that our employees can get back to work. They've been 2 weeks without paychecks, and tens of thousands of people have been 2 weeks without affordable transportation.
VTA officials say they're going to huddle back at their headquarters and come up with a plan for how to get the system up and running. While they're doing that, ATU striking workers are no longer allowed to picket out in front of the properties. They can't come back and do like a work slowdown while they work, but they're not really, doing half measures. They can't do that either. All of that has to stop. The two sides both now have the opportunity to get back to the bargaining table. VTU says they are open to negotiating and trying to come to some kind of deal. We're going to have more for you coming up in the next hour, but the headline of the hour right now, the strike for right now is off as a judge has granted VTU's injunction of ATU. We're live in downtown San Jose. Jesse Gary, KTVU, Fox 2 News. Claudine, back up to you in Oakland.
All right, Jesse, it sounds like still a lot to be worked out, though. Game plans, timing, and certainly the union, for what you just reported, does not sound happy and is probably going to work on some strategy there as well. Yeah. All right, Jesse Gary, thanks so much for that latest report on the breaking news from VTA.